Hello, everybody. I know this sounds crazy. This is probably not the voice that you are usually accustomed to listening to. That's because it's not. I am Soulful's daughter, and for those that don't know, she doesn't even know, which is funny, but this is her next Crazy Questions podcast because I'm hijacking it as her birthday gift. So I just want to preface this by saying that. But yeah, the crazy question is, how is it having a mom like mine? You guys, it's her birthday, and if I'm being honest, I'm beyond grateful for a love like hers, a light like hers, and if there's one word I can use to describe her, it is fire. And yes, she's an Aries, and if you know her personality, you know she's very bold and expressive, but I love the elements of fire because not only is it hot, okay, be careful touching it, but it offers such warmth to the people around. And that's one thing I can say that she's done throughout her entire life is just be warmth to people, whether or not, they expect it. And she's been that to her family, she's been that to her friends, she's been that to her children, she's been that to people who aren't even her children that she just, claimed. And she has such a warm heart. And even for me, I have a tattoo of her with her name on my body, and it says my son, Sharon, S-U-N. And it's because she really does offer that warmth in my life and the people around me. And she's such a good example as far as love goes. And I'm beyond grateful for that. And so having a mom like mine, I could never be without love. I could never be without an understanding of, just leading with that. Don't get me wrong. Mess with the bull, you get the horn. I'm gonna say that. She is not subtle either. So please be prepared for that. But in terms of just her as a whole, that warmth has never left. And I'm genuinely grateful to have been exposed to her ability to parent me the way that she has, to be the example that she has. At the end of the day, yes, she's a parent, but she's also a mother. We're going to rewind that. She's a parent, but she's also a person. And as far as that goes, just seeing her as the woman that she is, she gives me such an understanding of her perspective on how life is. And she's so confident in her energy, and she does not change and accommodate the ideas of people, which has instilled such a strength in me to just keep going and being great. And that's not something you could pay for, And growing up, I never truly, I guess, understood it and in its entirety. And I think even to this day, it still feels like I'm learning that lady. But just as far as being a true example of light and warmth and health, she's always taking the route of health, and that's throughout everything, whether it be the way that she lives, in terms of the foods that she eats and being active, or her relationship. She never wants to just leave things in a sore spot. She will always make sure that there's some type of healthy outcome. And sometimes healthy, if healthy, don't always taste good, but it's still what's best for you. And that's not something that, I think you can never take for granted. And I just appreciate her light beyond this. So I'm going to keep reiterating, why or what it's like having a mother like mine. But genuinely speaking, it gives me also a faith in humanity, because sometimes I can find myself, being a little bit on the more rigid side. And she always knows how to bring me back to earth and keep me in alignment with love, and not allowing my emotions to fully steer me in the wrong direction and keep me from, witnessing and experiencing the true essence of whatever is, instead of, being too defensive or being too frustrated to even get out of my own way. And that's not something, again, you could pay for. So honestly, I'm just beyond grateful to have a mother like mine. Even in the dark times, You know, she always makes me realize, like, hey, you know, yes, that is a possibility, but there are so many different perspectives that you must always look at, and you must always even be confident in the feelings that you have. You don't always have to feel good, you know. You could just understand that you're not feeling good, and move through that motion and process that. And she has a lot of patience, even though she ain't got no patience, which is funny because you tell this woman waiting line, she's gonna walk out. But you tell her about just experiencing something with someone, and you know, me, very rigid again, she'll be like, hey, but you also have to understand that these are people who are experiencing life just as much as you are. And if you can see them, then make sure you see yourself as well, and vice versa. And it's just beautiful to experience, because I see the wisdom and the peace and the willingness to over or underwhelm yourself. I just lost my train of thought. But no, honestly speaking, as far as just her willingness to make sure that I don't become the only, become my biggest problem, become getting my own way to the point where I'm just lost, and she is just so real and so true. That's not something, again, you could pay for, and I keep telling people that because it's so rare as well. And I've been blessed to have a mother like mine, and happy birthday, my mom. And when you reach this, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I have podcast material and my daughter and da. But nah, genuinely, thank you so much for the light that you continue to show to all of us. Thank you so much for the peace that you instill in us. Thank you so much for making us all feel not crazy. Because really and truly, we have all these crazy questions and we don't want to ask them, because really and truly, sometimes people gonna watch us kind of hard. What do you mean by that? Or is this, will I be judged for it? And you always ask the crazy questions, and you always push beyond barriers, and you always create a safe space for people to be their true selves. And sometimes we're afraid of our true selves because of the perception that we may have, or the perception that we may expect from others. And you always find a way to make everyone feel comfortable in their own skin, and that's a talent, and that's not something that everyone possesses. And I'm just beyond grateful to have been raised in that energy, and it's given me such a strength. It's given everyone I know who's known you such a strength, and I see your powers work in real time, girl, and I love you so much for it. And I just pray and manifest all good things for you and all real things for you, and you deserve a great life. And I know that you will get everything you want in this life, because what you want in this life is love, and you got it, girl. You got it. But happy birthday. Enjoy this podcast. And to everyone listening, please understand she got a crazy daughter behind us. If I want to act crazy, then go ahead. But these crazy questions are all for her to ask and answer. And if anyone has a problem with that, remember my last name Cranston, so I do have a bit of a, but no, for real, I do appreciate everyone else for listening and just being so appreciative of her art, and helping her grow and being a part of her growth as well. And everybody wish her happy birthday. Everybody wish her a lot of peace and love, and we rebuking all negative energy every time, and no weapon formed against her will ever prosper. Not if I'm here, and not if she's son here, and I'm not talking crazy, but she just know she's protected over here. But no, happy birthday, mommy. We love you, and don't let nobody stress you out ever. Keep asking your crazy questions and stay weird.